The next film,
Maestro.
Directed by, not written by, right? Written by and directed by Bradley Copperson. No, but didn't you tell me that somebody else wanted to adapt, like work on this film first, and then they passed it?
Josh Singer and Bradley
Yeah,
Cooper
there's
wrote
no
it.
way.
That was a producer thing.
There's no way Bradley Cooper wrote it, started
No,
it.
wasn't
It was
this
a producer thing.
Scorsese and Spielberg?
Spielberg,
first?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Maestro, directed by Bradley Cooper, starring Bradley Cooper and Carey Mulligan. Has 7 nominations this year for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Sound, and Best Makeup and Hairstylings. Oh my God, this film is... This is definitely a big highlight of this year. I mean, when we watched it, it was kind of like, if it won for Best Picture, Best Cinematography, any of these categories, I don't think any of us would be upset. Like, we'd be surprised and shocked, but...
Oh, her smile, dude. Just
She was great. She always is.
Yeah.
She's always amazing in everything.
Yeah.
I just think that Carey Mulligan gets a weird thing. She gets the Michelle Williams kind of effect. Where
What you mean?
She's just such a good actress that she can do no wrong, and people automatically think she's good. That's something I dislike. I think each film is singular. I think you should base your judgment on that performance alone, not how good of an actor they are.
I guess to a certain extent, yeah.
You know, so I think this film is an example of that. I think she's terrific in it.
She kind of stole some of the scenes, man.
Yeah, but I don't think she was better than other actresses like Emma Stone, for instance.
Yeah, this year.
So-
I'll give you that.
Carlos, do you want to break down the story?
Sure. This is essentially based on the life and legacy of Leonard Bernstein, an amazing composer, conductor, just writer of music, and involved in so many pieces of art. For example, writing the music for West Side Story, which we a lot of Broadway plays, but also concertos, and just an amazing career.
I mean, really, he was an artist for the time being. But,
Damn, that's actually pretty good.
I was gonna do a good impression of him, and just led an amazing life, and at the same time, amazing arcs in terms of his relationships that ended up being true. The exploration of his bisexuality.
I'm a bit of a homosexual, if you know what I mean.
and the arc of his relationship with his wife as well. So it just breaks down all of that. You know, not just a career in music, music, motion pictures, and plays, but also the dynamics of his family life, of his sexual exploration. This film covers just a ton.
I think it's going to win all those 7 nominations.
I think it's not going to win any of them, except makeup and hairstyling.
It better win makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, for makeup,
Which one would? Except for that one, yeah.
Like you see the subtlety in the way that they change his makeup over the film. And I mean, it's super impressive. Yeah. And then especially looking at the very end, like that comparison with the actual Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah.
And
the more that I've sat with this film, the more that I feel like this isn't adapted. This is original. I feel like this would be adapted.
No, there's no memoir or anything.
No, there's not an autobiography, but there is biography that I think he used as research. But anyways, the more I sit with this film, the more
it's original.
It's original. The more I feel like, number one, your sophomore film should not be this good. You should not be this good on your second go-round, Bradley Cooper. But he was also backed up by Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese on the making of this picture. You know,
And the cinematographer was Deakins, or
no, the cinematographer is Matthew Libatique.
Libatique.
Phenomenal, and then he also used him in A Star Is Born. But Libatique is Darren Aronofsky guy, like he did Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, The Whale.
He actually did The Prom. It was actually a fun little musical.
He did The Whale.
Yeah, Darren Aronofsky. That's what I'm saying.
Birds of Prey.
He also did Olivia Wilde's Don't Worry, Darling. Yeah,
very dynamic
Circle,
guy.
Ellers worked with him he worked with him on The Circle.
Straight out of Compton.
Noah. Again, he's
Very
kind
dynamic.
of
but Aronofsky.
Darren Aronofsky's go-to guy. But yeah, what's his name? What's his name?
Iron Man.
Jon Favreau. Yeah, he did Favreau's
Dude,
pictures,
he did
Cowboys and
Ruby Sparks.
Aliens, and Iron Man's.
He did Ruby
He's done a
Sparks.
lot.
He did Ruby Sparks, one of my favorite
But
films.
very super
Just
dynamic
super dynamic.
cinematography in this film.
A lot of great
oh
things. A
my
lot of great things.
God.
Yeah, the cinematography was amazing. When I think about this film, I think about the cinematography more than I think about anything. But the more I sit, the more I sit with it, yeah, the directing is phenomenal. Bradley Cooper shot himself in the foot in the end.
Why?
The
Because
film should have ended at the piano. The film should have ended at the piano. I understand. We're gonna see the postscriptum
haven't thought about
of his life after his wife's death and his sexual freedom, and it just took me out of the story so badly. That section.
I think we all were talking after we watched the film. We're like, like when he ends on that statement, and Austin.
Any questions?
Yeah. Where he says, "Any questions?" But I rewatched it recently, and I thought it did end there.
No.
So, are you sure?
After that, we cut into the 80s music and the car driving in.
Wait. So when does it end? When does the film end?
The club. He's like
That's the
dancing in the
ending?
club. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh my God.
exactly.
If you could just fact check that again, but yeah, no, I remember that being a big kind of gripe about the film is just
Yeah.
it ended on that really, and again, it's trying to complete the arc of this character because
And he's a
yeah.
human being, a real person.
Yeah,
so that's tough, right?
because it's trying to show that like.
But we
his
saw that
growth.
already. We saw that, right?
No,
I know,
but
I
I
know.
don't think it hurts it. Like,
It does, dude. It had
hurts
the
it.
biggest punch when he said
It hurts it.
any
Any
questions, and
questions?
you're just
Cut to
looking
black.
at him.
Boom.
No, but you're looking at him for
Yeah.
like a solid 3 seconds
yeah.
before they get you out of that. And those moments are so powerful, especially where I think afterwards they do have a image of his wife when she was younger, and
That was a kind of cool little homage to the Great Train Robbery and kind of like looking dead into the camera.
yeah.
Of,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
closest, so,
oh
you know.
my
Yeah.
God, fantastic. But yeah, I do think that kind of put it in a weird place. I will say that it's just up against so many great things.
Here we are.
Oh
Here
my
we are.
God. So yeah, it's up against so many great things this year that it is that kind of weird bag of like you could be.
It's always is.
I mean, I would. If this surprised us, I wouldn't be mad because it's just such a good film,
And it's
I told
okay,
you guys,
and that's
I'm-
what I mean. Like that's the interesting factor of this. That ending doesn't destroy the film, so it does end with that.
It does end with that. The only reason I think it feels kind of jarring is because the scene before was like, oh, okay, dude, like your wife died. Let's go back to this. Let's forget that whole education.
Because that's
part
where
and
we
everything.
started, right? I mean, or
Yeah.
that's where we didn't start there per se, but that's where the tonality of the film really starts to take its structure with this interview, and it's anchored around this interview. And I
Yeah.
think it would have been just a strong kind of thing.
I think if they had skipped the teaching scene,
Yeah.
if they had skipped
Oh.
the
The
teaching
teaching
scene,
scene was okay.
Yeah.
no, but then that's where it transitioned to the next scene. and
That's
then
what I'm saying. The
when-
teaching was okay. I didn't love the club stuff.
yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, see, so it does end there.
Okay.
But yeah,
It cuts to like his wife, yeah.
Yeah, which is great. That's great.
And then that's where it ends.
Okay.
because I remember rewatching it and thinking like, oh, why did they end there? But no, I think it's that whole jarring.
maybe it's just the jarring factor,
Tone,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
tone shifts. Oh my God! But fantastic movie.
Terrific.
I
Terrific.
also think there is a small bit of conversation to be added in towards the fact that Netflix and these streamers are doing such a heavy hit as far as being like, we're going to really fund these films, put good
By the
people
way,
behind it.
80 million was the budget.
80 mil.
80 mil.
This thing
And
had
how
been
much did
in-
it make in the net office? Or no, I'm kidding.
It doesn't matter, but with streaming, it never matters anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
but
exactly. I was
but
gonna say that.
essentially, no, it did get a theatrical run. It was very limited.
383,000.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks or something ridiculous. But because even the Oscar rules have changed. But what I think is interesting is that this thing has been in development for like 7 years.
That's in.
And like obviously, like I said, Spielberg was supposed to direct it. He handed it off to Marty. Marty was going to
Yeah, he
direct it,
told
and
him,
then
yeah.
they both saw A Star Is Born, and they were like, maybe Bradley.
Yeah.
And pass it on to him. But
I know we already killed about half the time, but let's just quick fire ratings. So, do you want to go first?
yeah,
Just quick
sure.
fire. Just give the rating.
Yeah, I'm at about a 9 also for this. I think that the ending of that or those scenes don't sully the whole picture. The picture is extremely strong. It's extremely cinematic. It does play into the arc of this real human being very well. And I love that it focuses on his arc as a human and not his career per se. His career was a backdrop.
You know, kind of resembles Queen, the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of like struggling with
Yeah.
the...
It's just it's very character driven because
Exactly.
we know. I think that's the interesting thing about these like biographies. We know what happened to the real person, and if you need to look at like their trajectory, career wise, and everything, that's fine. But then when the question becomes, where's the real story?
Yeah. What I
the
thought-
real story is in his marriage, and that's why you even look at the poster. You
What
know?
I thought the
That's why
special thing about this film also is Bradley was trying to be extremely authentic in his storytelling and his fidelity with the character. And what he did was his daughters, Leonard Bernstein's daughters, were directly involved with the making of this picture. He had them attached and said, "Hey, we're gonna go full fledged. I'm not gonna hide anything about your dad. I'm gonna tell all of his story." And they were like, "Yeah, you know." And we'll be there to fact check you, and we'll be there to give you all of our knowledge about the man we knew. And they even the house that they filmed at, the original house, where he's playing the piano, that was Leonard Bernstein's actual house that the daughters
even
let him
adds to it.
film
Fuck
in.
yeah.
And you know, the authenticity factor of that side of things. So it was a terrific picture, man. And like I said, Bradley Cooper could stop acting and solely direct if he wanted to. I hope he doesn't, because he's phenomenal in both. But man, he really had to trust his AD on this one. He really had to trust Lee Batik because his performance didn't suffer
At
due to the
all.
fact that he directed an amazing picture.
Yeah.
I mean, the scene I always revert back to is the church scene. You know, when he's
And that's
conducting inside the church and
big
just
Dude.
phenomenal.
crescendo.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck, man. I almost got...
He had just fought with his wife because he got caught essentially with another man and
No, but now that was after the phone call of like, okay, I'll call your mom and I'll try to make things right and stuff like that. Like,
but we don't know if they talk or not until we see her there.
Yeah.
She's revealed through the cinematography.
Yeah.
Standing in the back almost, celebrating, still playing the part of the wife publicly at least. And,
No, and then also
man.
That's
the
nice.
whole
That's-
thing about like being in the what is it called, like a cathedral,
Yeah.
and seeing him, and he
Oh my
is
gosh.
really this like Cooper
Enigma.
really demands this godly performance,
Yeah.
and where it's like
And they
like,
thought that shot up that day. They didn't plan that shot. And
Really?
it's
because
phenomenal,
the
man.
fun note was that originally they were going to do it on
Steady with like 3 different cameras.
yeah, and then they ended up-
And then they were like,
no.
we have a crane sitting outside for the next shot. And that Bradley himself was like bringing the crane
Yeah,
in.
dude.
You know, because it wasn't a huge, but
probably-
it was,
yeah, it
but they
was-
also like, this was an actual very like old cathedral that they had to be extremely careful in to not break anything.
Yeah.
It wasn't soundstage, it was the actual location. And again, it's hard to replicate that, man. It's hard to replicate things that were actually filmed or photographed. With
to me,
again,
that shot is going to be infamous for
Yeah,
a
it's
very
a
big
fantastic
while. There is
thing.
something so like godly about the cinematography and the way it flows and the way it really builds you up all the way
Yeah.
from seeing the people that he's about to conduct to seeing his performance to seeing the scale of everything
Yeah.
and then coming back down to the intimate level between
what
him
I
and his
think
wife. You
is
know?
very special too about
Yeah.
the cinematography is the trajectory we see. We're going essentially from he's a guy in his 20s all the way to his old age, right?
Yeah.
So I love the life and movement in the openings where he's falling in love with
That's
conducting.
true because I
and-
thought the whole film was going to be like
and
that.
it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
We slow down as he slows down, and we get more focused as he gets more focused in the cinematography. But the first ones, it's like camera angles from the top of the
Yeah, it's
stage,
very jumpy and bouncy and almost experimental,
And
and-
it's so, and then we get a little more, focused.
My God.
It's phenomenal cinematography by
Yeah.
Matthew Lee Batik. He's terrific. As long as he doesn't continue to beat people up in foreign countries and get arrested for it, I think he'll be
Let
all
him
right.
do what he does,
was in
as long as
prison,
he
man,
does
like
this,
in the
man.
Ukraine or Russia or
well, that's where he
something.
gets his
I think it was in
inspiration.
Russia. He was in prison for a while.
Let's okay. So 9. We'll just
I'm a
spit
9.
fire.
I'm a 9.
Spitfire, I'll go 9.3 just because of Bradley Cooper.
It's performance.
Yeah, I did not see Bradley Cooper in Lenny at all.
Yeah,
at the very
yeah,
end.
absolutely.
I was like, the voice that this guy just made, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
I dream for roles like that. I want,
Yeah.
quick fire.
Phenomenal,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
And by the way, to point out that Though Rami Malek did extremely well as a performer, he won the Oscar for it.
Right.
We haven't had a really good biopic in a long time. Like, this is a fucking
That's
great
true. I was gonna
biopic.
say, like, I
We've had
haven't
shitty little rinky-dink biopics for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Also,
This is phenomenal.
for like directing a film
Yeah.
and acting in it.
Well,
Another
adding to
one
it,
that came
exactly.
out this year, I forgot it was like called it's not Terminal, but there was one film that just came out recently with like these old rom-com duo. Did you hear about it? It's like they're at an airport.
I saw the trailer for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my parents watched it, and basically the actress,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
she also starred and directed, but it was one of those like,
You could see it.
It was
Yeah,
trying to play into like the Bollywood style, no?
I was trying to play into like the classic like 90s like rom-coms, you know.
Okay.
But it was trying to. Anyway, that, we're
No,
not
but
there
yeah,
about
that's
that
a good
film.
point. I mean, for
It's
him
so
to
hard.
have all these
Yeah.
hats and still pull off this masterpiece of a
Yeah.
performance,
Beautiful.
I mean, I
Prep,
think
man. He talks a lot about
Bradley
prep.
Cooper got into my
If
list.
you haven't gone, go to YouTube and see all the interviews that he did with Netflix. Put them on their YouTube with Guillermo del Toro, with Alfonso Cuarón, with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
About the making of this film. My gosh, man! Like, he'll tell you like prep is God, and the only reason this film is what it is because I
That is a
spent
perfect
7 years
definition.
in prep.
That's
you know,
a perfect definition of
yeah,
it.
so it's terrific. Austin Spitfire.
9.6.
Shit, or get off the pot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn,
Spitfire!
bro.
I have to Spitfire. You give your
I heard
rating
a
and go on a
mouse
rant
fart,
for
bro. God
like
damn.
Yeah,
6
you said
minutes.
Spitfire.
He just said it.
What was it?
9.6.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really up there.
9.6.
Yeah. Now, do I go on a rant for like 8 minutes before the next person spits fires their rating?
Yeah. You have 35 seconds.
Then
Go
I'll
ahead.
go.
No,
No,
do you
real
have,
quick,
like
No,
what are your
go.
thoughts on
We- no,
editing?
we gotta go.
No.
It is for editing?
Is it? A,
No.
it's-
No, it's not.
oh, okay.
Go.
Okay.
No, now you're just doing
I'm
opposite.
kidding. I'm joking. I'll say 9.4. It
So
was.
you were
it
the
was
lowest
high-
one.
I was the
Okay,
lowest
yeah.
one.
Yeah, no, it's higher up on the list. I think because of the cinematography
cinematography, of
and
course,
a lot of the technical aspects.
Yeah.
Very good. I mean, like amazing biopic. It could definitely compete with a lot of the other biopics that are out there that have been made. I feel like in exploring character and exploring the history of a person, in the like again the tonality shifts, experimental design. It's a fantastic film. I really do hope that this stands the test of time as far as being able to show that great cinema can still be made, because I know that that's like a conversation of like, well, are we really making great cinema, or is this just like good cinema for the time?
By somebody
You know?
who has his head on his shoulders, man. And Bradley Cooper's produced other really good films. You know, he produced The Joker, for instance.
Yeah.
And he's
Because
Todd
of
Phillips'
the
kind of
Hangover
go-to
guy.
guy. Like, yeah, Todd Phillips produced his film, A Star Is Born. And,
Exactly.
You know, so he's been a part of it. And the reason he said is, quite frankly, the only real reason I acted for this long is because I wanted to learn at the feet of the masters. So I got into acting so I can learn directing. That's all
And
he
that's
did
what
it
he
for.
did.
That's what he says. You know, so it's pretty special. That's pretty special. I mean,
What was his first role? I remember him from
I think he was like in Friends or
Wedding
something else.
Crashers.
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
Yeah.
To this? Man, dude, this guy definitely
Talk about
jumped.
growth, right?
Yeah. So Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Austin is going back to his student film
Sex
days.
in the City.
Oh,
I knew it
let's
was
talk
like
about
one of
that
those
one,
Dude,
shows.
I was waiting to talk about Sex and the City.
Wet Hot American Summer, really?
I've never seen that one. People have been telling me to see it.
Yeah.
All right, so
Wow.
this is
Oh
On
my
to the
goodness.
next.
this is
Alrighty,
Austin's-
Oppenheimer.
Please, Austin, no, please announce it, because
Are you guys ready to rumble?
Are you ready to rock?
I'm ready to get my mind blown.
In Nagasaki.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
You know,
New Mexico.
you know, it's funny.
funny.
I actually had my honeymoon in Japan, so let's not bomb.